गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ वृषभं च शनीनां विश्वरूपमदाभ्यं बृहस्पतिं वरेण्यम् ॐ तद्विष्णोः परमं पदं सदा पश्यन्ति सूरयः दिवीव चक्षुरा ततम्। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं क्लीं ह्सौः जगत्प्रसूत्यै नमः। ॐ नमः शिवाय। ॐ श्लीं ह्रीं ज्योतिर्ब्राह्माय नमः। Can everybody say after me Hare Ram Krishna 3 times? Om Hare Rama Krishna Hare Rama Krishna Hare Rama Krishna. Welcome back and Happy New Year to those of you who celebrated it yesterday. Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to those of you who are going to celebrate it this week, Thursday. Happy New Year. Happy Lunar New Year, Happy Solar New Year. Yes. Yeah.
I am looking at my own chart.
Yeah.
See, Astaka Vargas, do we need to see a planet house of a very big thing occupied in the Rashtra? Say, I am looking at Astaka Varga of Rashi chart.
Yeah.
Say, Saturn is in 12th house.
Yeah.
And then I am looking at Astaka Varga of Saturn.
Yeah.
Then Saturn, with respect to Saturn, say that 11th house of that particular Astaka Varga, the house is say 7.
Yeah.
What does it mean? I mean, it means that 12th house is going to be gained or...
You said 11th house is strong or 12th house? Which house?
Saturn is in 12th house with respect to the Rashi chart.
Yeah, forget where Saturn is. Now from Saturn, when you take the houses, which house?
11th is strong.
The 11th from Saturn is strong.
Strong.
So in Saturn's Astakavarga, the 11th house is very strong.
Right.
So whatever in when you take Saturn as the reference, what are you doing? You are taking the discipline, hard work, etc. The ability to just work hard without asking questions, the ability to just apply oneself sincerely. That is what Saturn stands for. So when you take various houses from Saturn, you are qualifying that quality.
Okay.
The resources of that quality, the gains from that quality, the loss of that quality, etc. So similarly, if you take Mars Astakavarga, what does Mars stand for? When you take Mars as reference in a chart, not Lagna or Moon, but you take Mars as reference. Aggression, the determination, the fire in the person. So that is what that Lagna shows. That is also a Lagna.
Oh.
Mars is called Kuja Lagna, Angaraka Lagna. Chandra Lagna means moon taken as Lagna. Lagna basically means a reference point. And the rising sign, the ascendant, is a standard Lagna. It is a default Lagna. When you don't specify any Lagna, you take the normal Lagna that is shown in the chart as a, you take that as the Lagna. But there are so many other Lagnas that can be taken. Mars can be taken as a Lagna. You can take Guru in a chart as a Lagna. What does that show? What does Guru inside somebody show? The wisdom, the judgment, the discretion inside the person. So when you take houses from that Guru Lagna, from the Jupiter as reference point, you get various qualities, various qualifications of that particular aspect within you. Similarly, Venus is the spirit of enjoyment. So when you take various houses from it, again you take various qualifications of that. So now you need the principle, the basic fundamental of Astakavarga is that Lagna is not the only reference point which is important. You take various other planets as references and see houses from them. So if you see that in your case, the 11th from Saturn has a high score, what it means is when it comes to the spirit of working hard, being disciplined, without asking questions, just keep doing things, patience, perseverance, when it comes to those qualities. The 11th house, what is the 11th house? The 11th house is the fulfillment of all desires. So the hard work within you, the Saturn within you, gets fully fulfilled. So that means you can, if the 11th house is strong, the 9th, 10th and 11th house are strong from any difference, that is very auspicious. As far as that reference is concerned, you are blessed. You can really work hard without asking questions. You can apply yourself. You can be very disciplined. That's what it shows. If you see in somebody else's case, the 12th house from Saturn is much stronger, let us say, and the 11th house, 9th house, 10th house, they are all weak. Then such a person may not be very disciplined, may not be very hardworking, may not be able to work hard without asking any questions, like Saturn expects. So similarly, if you look at Mars Ashtaka Varga, if you see that the 9th and 10th and 11th houses are strong, or let us say 1st, 5th and 9th houses, the trines are strong. So that Lagna is basically strong. That person is very aggressive. On the other hand, if you find those to be weak, and if you find 6th and 8th and 12th from Mars to be very strong, that person, there are obstacles to that aggression within him. The aggression will not manifest. The person will be very weak. He will not be very brave or very aggressive, having a lot of initiative, like having a lot of fire in him. So like this, we take various references, and Ashtaka Varga is a way to numerically judge, just using a formula, which aspects of a particular person are strong and which aspects of a particular person are weak. And one important thing you can do is forget all houses. Lagna is the most important house, the first house. That is the very basis for everything. When you take Lagna, all houses comes from that. Whether you are talking about resources, whether you are talking about the work that somebody does, his abilities, for everything that is the basis. If the Lagna is not there, if the person's existence is not there, other things are meaningless. So Lagna has to be very strong. So what you can do is, the basic test is if you can look at the scores in various Ashtaka Vargas in the first house itself, you will get a sense of how strong that particular planet is. If you see, for example, let us take an example. Let's take, I was just looking at this chart the other day. Let's say the data is, birth data is April 4, 1904. The time is 6:17 p.m. and the place is Jammu, India, 74 degrees east 52, 32 degrees north 44. And this chart, this data was given by Sri K.N. Rao on Jyotish Group the other day. He did some work on Kundalal Saigal. This chart belongs to Kundalal Saigal, who was a great singer and actor, the first superstar of Indian movie. In 1930s and 40s, he was a very, very popular actor and singer. He used to sing his own songs. And Mr. K.N. Rao was a fan of this gentleman. My father was also a fan of this gentleman. Anybody who lived in that time period must be a fan of this gentleman. And he did some research on him. He talked to his daughter, this gentleman's daughter, and he found out the data, but it was approximate. And he took the help of a psychic lady, Miss Carvey, who lives in Bombay, and she has the gift of finding out the time of somebody. Her father, he is known as Yogi Carvey. He came to US a few times. He has this psychic gift. When he sees a person, he comes up with the chart, where Lagna is, what was the date, what was the time when he was born. Pardon me? I guess you give the location and then he figures out the time, something like that. But he does help you in rectifying the charts. But I have seen some cases where he was totally off by several hours, and there is absolutely no way.
Off by several hours.
Yeah.
Not by
minutes. Yeah. So there are. It's obviously anything that is inexplicable. Any inexplicable human talent will have some flaws in it. It will not be perfect. But it is amazing that in some charts, in some cases, he comes up with charts which actually make a lot of sense. They must be correct. So his daughter, Pinky Karve, she also has this gift from her father. Actually, her father, Yogi Karve, he worships a deity called Vishwadastana Devata, basically like a Vishwarupa form of the Lord. So he worships that particular deity, and he's a very simple person. I had the pleasure of meeting him once. He's a very simple, very unassuming person. Yeah. No air around him. There may be airs in people who are surrounding him, but he has absolutely no airs. Very simple man, very honest man. He's a great person. And his daughter also apparently has the same ability. And she helped Mr. K.N. Rao in coming up with this chart, with this particular time. And then when I looked at the chart, it makes great sense. This must be either the correct chart or very close to being the correct chart. So I was working on this the other day. That's why it was at the top of the history. But let us take this chart as an example. Let us see the Ashtaka Varga. So when you see, when you look at various houses from planets, like I was saying, the first house from every planet is the most important house, actually. So when you are looking at Sun Ashtaka Varga, take the first house. Is it strong or weak? It's weak, it has two. So basically Sun is weak in Ashtaka Varga. If you take Moon, like that you can take every planet. And take the first house, and the first house has been highlighted in the software automatically. See, Mars is in Aries, and Aries has been highlighted in Mars Ashtaka Varga. Jupiter is in Pisces, and Pisces has been highlighted in Jupiter Ashtaka Varga. Like that, the house containing the planet in the chart has been highlighted in the software just for easy reference. And now you can look at these scores in various Ashtaka Vargas, and that will give you an idea of how strong various planets are. It doesn't mean that if a planet that is weak gives a yoga, that yoga will be weak or something. Because when it comes to judging the strength of a yoga given by a planet, we use Shadbala, we don't use this particular strength. But what this strength means is, what Ashtaka Varga means is, how various other planets are cooperating with this planet. The scores in various houses here, they come from the placements of all planets. Based on how all planets are placed, you see that Sun has cooperation from 2 planets in this sign. Sun has the cooperation from 4 planets in this sign. Sun has the cooperation from only 1 planet in this sign. Like that, these numbers are derived. So, what this Ashtaka Varga strength shows is, out of all the 8 references, Lagna and other planets, how many are cooperating with Sun in various of these houses. And when you look at just the first house, you will see how many references are cooperating with Sun. So that will give you an idea of whatever Sun stands for. Sun stands for the soul, Moon stands for the mind, Mars stands for the initiative. So you can see how strong various of these things are. And I told you that you can look at let us see. I told you that if somebody is very successful in the Sarvashtaka Varga, which is an accumulation of all the house strengths, if the 9th house from Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, everybody is strong, the overall 9th house is strong for the first time. So when you do that, when you add all those things up, you get this Sarvashtaka Varga. So if you see any successful person, any lucky person, any fortunate person, when you add the scores in 9th, 10th and 11th, they should be stronger than 6th, 8th and 12th. Usually when you apply to successful people, you do find that. So if you look here, the 6th house has 29, the 8th house has 28, the 12th house has 21. What is the total? 50 plus 28, 78. The total is 78. If you add, this is the Lagna. So 6th house is 29, 8th house is 28, the 12th house is 21. If you add these 3 things up, you get 78. So what is the average score in those 3 houses? 78 divided by 3. What is that? Why approximately? Exactly. So it is exactly 26. So that is not very strong, but not very weak either. Like I told you earlier, less than 25 is very weak, above 30 is very strong, and between 25 and 30 is the gray zone. It's neither too strong, not too weak. It's basically average. And it's at the lower end of the average scale here. On the other hand, if you combine the scores in 9th, 10th and 11th, what is the score? Approximately? Okay.
33.13, right?
Yeah, 33.33. Why 13?
Yeah, 1.3.
Yeah. When you have an exact answer, you say it's approximate. When asked to give an exact answer, you give approximate answer. Today is the day of mathematical errors. So you can see that the average score in 9th, 10th and 11th house is basically very high. 33 is extremely high, approximately 33. That is a very high score, because anything above 30 is very high. So without looking at any other things, when you just look at the astrology, pardon me?
36 is not that far.
Well, it is far. There is a big difference. Because you don't find, this is not a 0 to 100 scale. If you look at all the numbers, the least is 21 and the highest is 37.
The max you can score per house is 8.
Yeah,
8.
Yeah.
8 times 12 is maximum.
8 times 8. You are adding up from 8 astrology.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the theoretical maximum score is 64, but I have never seen 64.
What is the highest you have ever seen?
I don't know. Maybe
44.
yeah, maybe 40.
Yeah, I think King Hussein of Jordan also has 47, 44.
Yeah, King Abdullah of Jordan.
Yes. King Abdullah Jordan has 47.
47. This is the highest I have seen. 47 in the 11th house.
Oh, wow. So that gives that much level of happiness.
Yeah, yeah. If you look at the 9th house, it's not real, it's 31, it is strong, the dharma. 10th house is the house of karma, the work that you do in the society. It is good, but it is not great, it is average. But the 11th house, the house of fulfilling all your desires, that is 47.
Awesome. 47.
Yeah.
It relates to this 11th house number chart.
Pardon me?
That anyway relates to 11th house of the chart.
What do you mean? This is the 11th house in the chart. That is why we are looking at the score in that particular house. When you take the ascendant in Scorpio, the 11th house is Virgo. So we are looking at the score in that particular house.
So that means the person will have a lot of pain.
Yeah, overall, with respect to all the planets within him gain whatever they want. The sun inside him, the moon inside him, the Mars inside him, everybody is gaining fully.
And you know, if you look at his dharma,
Yeah.
dharma Trikona,
Yeah.
the 3rd house and 7th house are very weak, they're 21.
You mean Kama Trikona?
Perhaps the count is 3rd and 7th house are weak. So the fulfillment of the desire will change.
Yeah. So there may not be a lot of initiative, there may not be a lot of,
Effort in fulfillment.
yeah, but
He gets
he easily gets whatever he wants. But 11th house is the final culmination of getting what you want. So if you see somebody like this, 3rd and 7th not really great, but 11th house extremely strong in Astrologa, the person is born with a silver spoon. He will easily get whatever he wants. He just has to call. He doesn't have to have, I want to get this, I have to do something, I have to start a business, I have to do this, I have to do that. You don't need all that. You just call somebody and tell him, hey, they told me that there is a new Rolls-Royce car that they designed, get one for me, that's it. So it's not a matter of 3rd house. This is simply a matter of 11th house. No initiative, no hard work, you just get it. So this is the highest score that I have seen, I believe. I don't think I ever saw any 50s, only 40. There are several other charts where you see 40. But even 40 is supposed to be very high. And like I said, the scale is anything above 30 is good. Yeah, very strong. And for people like us, even a score of 25 is actually not bad. Between 25 to 30 is not bad at all. It's basically the normal scale. That is where you expect most of the people to have most of the houses. And less than 25, you should be concerned about. And above 30, you should be happy. So let's go back. Okay, so like this we look at the houses from various planets and then see. But like I said, the first house is the most important thing. So does it answer your question? Or you forgot your question?
No, I'm still trying to get it actually.
Okay.
See, the Saturn, say, being in 12th house, say, this example is not there. But Saturn is in 12th house and
Yeah.
12th house is strong.
Yeah.
So in that
Take your own. See, when you are looking at Saturn Astrology, forget where Lagna is. Just look at, now Saturn is the Lagna. Like I said, the whole idea of Astrologa is, Lagna is not the only reference point. Forget Lagna, it's only one of the 8 references.
okay.
It is a, Ashtaka Varga means group of 8. There is a group of 8. Oh, actually, group of 8. There is a group of 8 in the external world also. There is a group of 8. 8 things that are very important references, which is the 7 planets and Lagna. So you take each of them as a reference. When you are taking Saturn Ashtaka Varga, let us take Jupiter Ashtaka Varga here. for example. Jupiter is the wisdom inside a person, the intelligence, the wisdom, the judgment, the discretion within a person. So if you want to judge various houses from it, the first house itself is the basic wisdom of the person. And the 10th house is the intelligence doesn't really work in society, it works within the person. So the application of the intelligence within the person, the work that the intelligence does, what is the work that intelligence is supposed to do? The intelligence, the wisdom that lives within us, in our brains or in our heart or wherever, I don't know, maybe in our knees, I don't know where it lives, but wherever it lives, the intelligence and wisdom within us, what is the work it is supposed to do? Make the right calls for the mind. Tell the mind what to do. Whether mind does it or not is up to mind. That depends on how mind is. That depends on moon. But as far as Jupiter in your chart is concerned, he is your wisdom. His job is, his work, his profession is to guide the mind. That is the karma of Jupiter. So when you look at the 10th house from Jupiter, that house will show. Now forget, this is actually the 4th house from Lagna. But forget that for now. We are, when we are looking at Jupiter Ashtaka, we are bothered only about Jupiter. We are bothered about Guru Lagna, Jupiter taken as a reference. So when you do that, you look at various houses. The 10th house is very strong. Actually the two houses that really stand out are 3rd and 10th. They have scores of 7 in them. What is the 10th house? Like I said, this is the karma of the work done by the intelligence, which is guiding the mind. Making the right judgments, making the right calls, and telling the mind, this is what you should do. If somebody has a weak 10th house from Jupiter, let us say, the person's intelligence will be sluggish. It will not want to do his work. So his mind is poorly guided. It's not guided well. But in this person, when you look at the 10th from Jupiter, because it is strong, you can conclude that this is somebody who has wisdom that really does his job, which does a good job of guiding the mind. And now, what is the other house that is really strong? The 3rd house. Now forget that this is 9th house from Lagna, because you were concerned about Saturn being in the 12th house. Because all the houses will differ when you take from Lagna or from Saturn. Individual properties of the qualities of whatever that planet stands for. The qualifications of wisdom here, in the case of Jupiter. The qualifications of one's hard work when you take Saturn Ashtaka, as in your example. So the 3rd house is very strong. What does it mean? What is the initiative of the intelligence? Wow. Not really push people. Intelligence within you is not working with people. It's only working with your mind. Yeah, okay, people inside you mean. Like your mind, yeah. Yeah.
Either like if it is like it is gaining knowledge, like reading books or composing, singing songs and
whatever it is, all those are not really, intelligence doesn't care about all those things. As far as intelligence is concerned, the wisdom is concerned, the Jupiter is basically the planet of Dharma. Wisdom wants, the wisdom within each person wants the person to follow Dharma. Do the right thing. The Jupiter inside everybody knows the right thing. We may not do the right thing. We may be bad people. We may be doing weird things. But the Jupiter inside each person does know what is good, what is bad. He is the guard. Jupiter inside each person is the guard. The Dakshinamurti within you. He does know. And the sun is the soul. The sun within you is the soul. And he also knows everything. Knows what is good and what is bad. But moon inside each person, that is the mind, the mana, and that is under a lot of illusion. That does not know what is right, what is wrong. That is the problem that all of us have. And Jupiter does know what is right and what is wrong. But the thing is that he takes initiative in processing whatever. Mind sees something. Mind has an experience. It experiences the rest of the world. And then it passes those experiences to Jupiter, to the intelligence within you. And the intelligence processes that information and makes a determination. This is what you should do. This is what you should not do. Like that, the intelligence within the person makes determination. And when it makes the determination, it tries to influence the mind to act in a particular way. So, the 3rd house from Jupiter is the initiative that your intelligence has to actually apply itself. If the 3rd house is weak, again there may not be a lot of initiative. to apply the intelligence for your own good. Here the third house is very strong, the house of initiative, and the house of karma is also very strong. So overall, if you look at all the Kama Trikonas, third house is strong, seventh house is strong, 11th house is strong. So there is a strong initiative and the intelligence gets what it wants. It pursues. Pardon?
But what you see in cases of Vishal, when you see 2, 6 and 10, you say the resources for implementation of this is strong.
Yeah, we'll come to that also. Let us say in a particular case, Artha Trikonas are weak, but Kama Trikonas are strong. What do you think?
Resources to execute things before. However, the desire to do stuff is
Not just resources, because I am saying the whole Artha Trikona, not just second house is weak. So resources, there may not be much resources, there may not be much hard work, and there may not be much work done by the intelligence, but it gets what it wants. That means it will get what it wants without actually having to
make any effort.
put a lot of effort and work. Even without really working hard and fighting with the mind, no, do this, without doing all that stuff, the intelligence gets what it wants. So that means the mind may be following the intelligence very easily. So when you see the Kama Trikonas being very strong, like for example, if you look at a king, his 10th house may be weak, but his 11th house may be strong. He may not have to do a lot of things. His 6th house may be weak, but 7th house may be strong. His 2nd house may be weak, but 3rd house may be strong. So he may not, if Artha Trikonas are the effort that you put in, what you do, and Kama Trikonas are what you get. If Kama Trikonas are strong, you get what you want without having to work, which is not a bad thing.
But Kama Trikonas only the 11th house is strong.
11th house is strong, then you get. If it is weak, 11th house is very weak, you will nurture a lot of desires, you will have a lot of initiative, a lot of drive, but you may not get what you want. Yeah. Okay? So there is an interplay between various trikonas. For normal people, you get what you want if you work, if you overcome your obstacles. So there is an interplay among various houses, but it is also possible that they exist independently. Even without, all houses may be weak, but just the 11th house may be strong, and that person may get whatever he wants. He may have a golden hand. Whatever he touches will turn gold. That is possible. So like that, all the 12 houses are independent houses, but they are interlinked houses. And even though they are interlinked houses, because they are independent, if one particular house is really strong, whatever that stands for may actually satisfy. Okay? Now going back, so we looked at the Jupiter. If you look at Mercury, for example, what does Mercury stand for?
Learning ability of a person.
The learning ability, the adaptivity of the person. What is it?
Susceptibility.
It's not exactly a good word. But it sounds very similar. I guess that's why your brain dug out that word. Yeah. Flexibility, susceptibility, all these are related words. Okay. So, Mercury shows the flexibility, the adaptivity, the learning ability within a person. So, if you look at Mercury, he is very strong. He has a score of 6. So, you can say that the learning ability, the ability to learn within him is very strong. If you see somebody with a weak Mercury in the Ashtavarga, he may not be a good learner. And now the thing is, any interesting point?
11th house is also very strong.
This is excellent.
If you look at the 11th house from Mercury,
Outstanding.
that is outstandingly strong. That has a score of 8, which is the theoretical maximum. So, again, as far as the learner within him is concerned, he is fully satisfied. Whatever he wants, he gets. And if you look at the 8th house, how is the 8th house? The 8th house is the house of working hard, anxiety, tension, etc. The 8th house from Mercury is not really strong. It's kind of weak. So what does it mean?
You will not have anxiety for learning things.
Yeah.
He will not get too much obstacle. He will not face too many obstacles.
No, that is sixth house.
Yeah, when he has to learn something. Now don't look at it, you can look at it at a sthula level, at a sukshma level, at a gross level and at a minute level. The gross level is when he wants to learn some subject like astrology or singing or something, he will find somebody who will teach him. He will not have a lot of difficulty in learning things. That is when you look at various planets as various people, when you are looking at the entire world, entire society, that is the interpretation. But you can look at it as at a minute level also. Within the person, when the person has to learn something, the Mercury within the person is the learner within you. There is a learner within each person. And that learner, he doesn't have any anxiety or tension. Things will come easily. 8th house is weak. The 8th and 12th house are weak. And the 11th house is strong. The 10th house is strong. So basically the learner within him doesn't have to be tense. That means when he has to learn something, he can easily learn. On the other hand, if somebody has a strong 8th house from Mercury in their Ashtavarga, the learner within him may be a perturbed learner. In other words, not just in terms of getting opportunity from the rest of the people, but even when he gets opportunity, when he starts learning internally, he has lot of anxiety, lot of turbulence, lot of instability. The learning is not a smooth process for that person. It's a process where he tries to learn. He doesn't completely understand at one go. He has to ponder on it and then he will understand it. So that is a possibility. On the other hand, if the 8th house is weak, actually here 6, 8 and 12 together, if you combine the scores, they are actually weaker than, let us say, the Kama Trikonas or Artha Trikonas. So basically, when it comes to learning, he is a very good learner. For me? He will learn easily. The learner with him is very strong, very active.
How about the 6th house being 4, being 5, what obstacles will be happening?
6th house is the process of using your resources and turning into some karma. What is the karma of this? This is the resources of the mind, the resources of the learner within you, within the person. For me? 2nd house is B, the resources. This is basically the resourcefulness of the learner within you, within the person. And 6th house is overcoming the obstacles, and 10th house is the final work. Now, what are the resources of Mercury? What are the resources of learner within you? What resources does it say? Yeah? I mean, externally when you are learning, you need a book, you need an MP3 file, you need all those resources. But forget it. We will go at a minute level. Within the person, when you are looking at Mercury, when you are looking at the learner within the person, what are the learner's resources?
Desire, the hard work.
Desire is 3rd house. It's not a resource. But we don't call that resource. Yeah. His resource is the intellect.
He should have a brain.
For me? Yeah.
Open-minded.
Open-mindedness is a resource. Yes. Open-mindedness. When you have to learn something, you have to be open-minded. You have to be willing to learn. So that open-mindedness is a resource that your learning needs. And a guru. Who is the guru of the learner within you? The Jupiter. The Mercury is the Shishya and Jupiter is the guru. The learning ability within you is the Shishya, and your intelligence, your wisdom, that is the guru. That is why some great Advaita philosophers thought that you don't really need a guru to learn something. There is a guru within you. There is a Dakshinamurti, Megha Dakshinamurti within each person. Of course, sometimes when he is weak, he may need to be activated by an external guru. But according to Advaita philosophy, the external guru who is teaching you something and the internal guru, your own wisdom, they are not different. They are one and the same. The same Jupiter, the Devaguru, the teacher of the gods, who permeates this whole universe, who teaches all the gods of this universe, he permeates each person as his intellect, as his wisdom. So you don't really need an external guru. There is a guru who knows everything within each person. It's just a matter of activating him. Just a matter of giving him full control over yourself, giving him control over the Mercury within you. So, if you look at the resources, the house of resources, that particular house is not very strong. So when it comes to learning, the resources are weak, which means the guru may not be really interested in teaching, or the mind may not, because when does learner learn? When his consumer wants him to learn. The chain is like this. Jupiter, the intelligence, teaches the learner, and the learning ability learns what the wisdom is, the information passed by wisdom, and then it controls the mind. So Jupiter, earlier I said that Jupiter and mind, Jupiter and Moon, the intellect and mind, they are talking to each other, but that's not exactly true. There is a layer in between that is called buddhi, that is basically the consciousness, which is basically Mercury. So the buddhi, that asks Moon, what do you want? What is the decision that you want to make? And mind tells, this is what I find, this is what I need to do, what should I do? And then the learning ability thinks about it. And then it interacts with the intellect within you. And the intellect tells your buddhi. The wisdom within you tells your buddhi. The medha within you, which is Jupiter, tells the buddhi within you, which is Buddha, Mercury. This is how it should be done. And then, just because Jupiter tells something, that doesn't mean Mercury understands. Just because your wisdom is saying this is what you should do, your buddhi may not be able to appreciate it at some times. Buddhi is consciousness, and intellect is supra-consciousness. It's not conscious, it's not operating at the level of consciousness. It's at a higher level. That is why it is God. And that knows what is right, what is not. But Mercury doesn't exactly know that. But when buddhi processes that information given by the intellect, and buddhi appreciates it, then buddhi will try to control the mana. So Mercury within you will try to then control the mind within you. And then, depending on the relationship between Jupiter and Mercury, you can decide whether your buddhi will actually learn or not. And depending on the relationship between Buddha and Chandra, you can decide whether finally when your buddhi has realized something, your mind is actually willing to follow it or not. So sometimes you may know what is the right thing, but you may not consciously feel it. There will be some unease within you when you are doing something bad. But you may not really understand or appreciate it because the truth has not come to the level of Mercury yet. It is only at the level of Jupiter. When the truth comes to the level of Buddha, you are conscious about it. Still you may decide to go against that. Sometimes that happens to all of us. Because mind is not willing to accept it yet. So this is basically the philosophy. The philosophy is there are various layers within each person. And if you look at the Mercury here, the resources are weak. That means your mind is not asking for the information. It's not a bad thing. Maybe because mind already knows. Mind is already an elevated mind, spiritually. So you need not be concerned about it. Because what is important is 9th house, dharma, following dharma, 10th house, doing his karma, 8th house, fulfilling his desires. Are they strong? If they are strong, if other houses are weak, you don't have to be concerned about it. If all the houses are weak, then it's a bad thing.
I mean, ideally, I would think at least so, moksha is ultimate goal.
Not for Mercury.
Not for moksha. In that case, only to
See, the thing is, forget people who are close to moksha or who get moksha. Their astrology is different. Forget their astrology. You look at normal people, they don't know what is good, what is bad. They are always doing stupid things. We are always doing bad things, causing grief to so many people around us and causing grief to ourselves. And why is it happening? Because we are imperfect beings. And when a being is imperfect, whether the medha within the person, the buddhi within the person, the mana within the person, whether they all are doing their job or not is very important. And if one of them decides to take moksha, it is not moksha for you. It is pain for you. So for the learner within you, there is no moksha.
But eventually, let's say, anybody in a group gets to moksha somehow.
Yeah.
But eventually, so that combination, does self-help have to be strong in several things?
I'm not actually 100% sure. I have to contemplate on it. I'm not really sure. I can't answer that. If you know the chart of anybody like that, you study the chart. Yeah.
Why is Rahu and Ketu not calculated?
Actually, there are some classics where Rahu's Ashtavarga is given. There is an Ashtavarga of Rahu given, I think, Sambhavara, Prakashita. So, some people do take Rahu's Ashtavarga, but for most purposes, the 7 planets are sufficient. The 7 planets are various aspects of you. Rahu and Ketu are certain abstract aspects within you. But these are more concrete. So we use these, the 8 Ashtavarga. Yeah. Yeah, but that is his view. There is absolutely no classical basis for it as far as I know. That is his view. Lagna, some people like Sanjayji use Lagna Sashtavarga as Rahu Sashtavarga, but there is absolutely no classical basis for it. It is just his view. And Parashara clearly mentioned it as Lagna Sashtavarga. And there is a classic actually, Sambhuhara Prakashika, which does give Rahu Sashtavarga. So it would make sense that the houses from Lagna, how you see the scores. I will go through Ashtavarga later in a later class in more detail. But the way these numbers are calculated is from each planet, various houses are considered auspicious or inauspicious for various planets. So when Jupiter is, let us say, in the third house from Mercury, is it good or bad? If Jupiter is in the second house from Mercury, is it good or bad? So what is the second house from Mercury? It is the resource for the learner. If Jupiter is there, is it good or inauspicious? It is good. So like that, if you understand what various planets stand for and what houses from them stand for, you can actually derive the Ashtavarga table. It's a big table. It's a matrix of, say, 8-12 matrix, 8 by 12 matrix. For each of the 8 differences, in all the 12 houses, from each of the 8 differences. I mean, from each of the 8 differences, for each of the 8 planets, in each of the 12 houses, there is a 0 or 1, auspicious or inauspicious. Like that, there is a series of tables given by Parashara. But if you understand the philosophy behind it, you can actually derive the table. It is basically common sense if you understand the philosophy. But
this counts to Samramurti, Rajatamurti.
Absolutely no. I will mention that a little later, because after yesterday's Panchanga Sravanam, you were probably curious how they are completed. I will talk about it. But to finish the thought, what was my thought?
How we are counting.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So this whole counting is based on what various houses from a reference stand for, from Lagna, from Sun, from Moon, etc. And whether various planets are good or bad there. And if you look at Rahu stands for a particular thing. He stands for, what does he stand for? The deceit, deception, illusion within you. The ignorance within you. The veil of ignorance. The veil of ignorance within each person. So when you take various houses of that, what is the dharma of the ignorance within you? To put you on the wrong path. Yeah. So like that, if you look at the meanings of various houses from Rahu, they have totally different meanings. Whether various planets are auspicious or inauspicious there, that would be different from any other thing, any other planet or Lagna. So I don't agree with taking the Lagna Sashtavarga for Rahu. In my view, either don't take Rahu Sashtavarga or take it, go through it carefully. And Sambhuhara Prakashika has a Rahu Ashtavarga that Dr. Raman uses. And I consider Sanjayji one of my gurus, but I consider Dr. Raman my other guru. And when there is a clash between two of my gurus, or actually I consider the Dakshinamurti within myself also as my guru. So when there is a clash between my 3 external gurus and one internal guru, my 4th guru, I don't take that. Then I will be following none of them. Yeah. When there is a clash, I just go by whichever appeals to my buddhi. Finally, it is buddhi that guides you. So whichever guru appeals to my buddhi, I just follow them. And here I follow Dr. Raman, and for Rahu I use Sambhuhara Prakashika's Ashtavarga, and I use this Ashtavarga as simply Lagna Ashtavarga. Okay. So another use of these Ashtavargas is, this is one use, static analysis. When you look at the chart, how various planets are placed with respect to various planets. So this is the static analysis. But there is a dynamic analysis. The transits. This is something that we haven't covered so far at all. We will go back to Narayana Dasha and other Dashas. But let us quickly look at the philosophy of Gochara. It is called Gochara. Go means Graha. Chara means movement. So Gochara means planetary movement. It's also in English it's called transit. What it means is when you are born, for example, when Kundalal Saigal was born, Jupiter was in Meena. But later, after 1 year, he would have moved to Aries. After 1 more year, he would have moved to Taurus. Like that, planets keep moving. All the planets are moving through the zodiac. And when they are moving, at any given point of time, If you look at where the planets are, with respect to the original natal position, based on the placements of planets at this time, you can draw some conclusions about what kind of events are possible. So, ideally, we are supposed to look at dashas and also transits and correlate them and then make predictions. If you see that there is a bad dasha, there is a dasha when somebody can be imprisoned, let us say, and you find that for a couple of years, the dasha and Astakavarga conducive to imprisonment are running. But when will he be imprisoned? You can look at annual charts like Pravesha like we do, but you can also look at transits. You can see how various planets are moving, and you can see when various planets are good, when various planets are bad. So the rules are, you can see the transits from various planets, from various lagnas, Lagna, Chandra Lagna, Surya Lagna, etc. But the most important is Chandra Lagna. When you judge the transits, in Indian tradition, the most important difference has always taken to be moon. Why? Mind is the Maya. So, moon is the Maya, moon is the mind. So, when various planets are moving through the zodiac, how they are impacting your mind. So, to see that, you see the transits from Chandra. But there is also a section of Indian astrologers who give more importance to Lagna. And that is also good. What do you see from Lagna? It's the intelligence, it's the health, it's all those things. So if you want to see how the health will be, you can look at Lagna also, apart from moon. And thirdly, you can see transits from Arudha Lagna. You can see from Sun also, but we don't really give a lot of importance to Sun. Sun is soul. How various transits are impacting soul. Why do we care? We don't even know what the soul is. So we forget soul. But it is, you can look at transits, but it's more involved. It's not like second house has a lot of planets now, you'll get a lot of money. What money the soul needs? The second house from Sun is not money. The second house from Moon is money. The second house from Lagna is money. The second house from Aru Lagna is money. The second house from Sun is not money. So when you judge the transits with respect to Sun, the interpretation is more tricky because we don't exactly understand what Sun stands for. Even though we say Sun is soul, Sun is soul. Okay, what does it mean? What does second house from Sun mean? What does third house from Sun mean? It's a philosophical issue. To understand it fully, one needs to be more advanced. So let us forget Sun. But the ironical thing is, in Western astrology, in Western society, usually people are, at least for the last few centuries, people have been more materialistic, but still when it comes to transits, they put a lot of importance on Sun.
So Sun gives power also, right? How it is?
Sun gives power also, yes. Sun gives power also.
Soul and Sun they are related.
Yeah. The soul, the power that somebody has, if somebody has really strong power, that does come from the level of soul. It is the soul that enables. If somebody has, let's say, following by 1 million people, it cannot come just because of Lagna or Moon. It comes because there is the power in the soul. The soul is carrying that power with it. That's why it happens. So what you said is right. So you can see those things also. But if you look at normal laymen, the chances compared to chances from Sun, Moon and Lagna are more important. But I must say that Parashara did say that Sun, Moon and Lagna are all 3 important differences. They are the tripod of your existence. Sun, Moon and Lagna, body, mind and soul. 3 are important. So in India there is hardly any tradition of taking chances from Sun. But interestingly, I find it a little ironical, but interestingly, the Western astrology has kept that tradition alive, keep using Sun as a reference point. But it's interesting that they have completely forgotten Moon. They are just using Sun. And this may be because it's convenient, because looking at the month of your birth, you can find out what your sun sign is and then you can give some readings. On the other hand, if you want to find out your moon sign, there is no clear formula. You have to fill into a program. So it's just convenient if you follow sun sign. And for that reason, sun sign may have dominated originally in Western astrology also. Other differences may have been used. But anyway, going back to transit analysis, Moon is considered the most important planet. If you go and ask any traditional priest in India who does astrology, he will just look at Moon. He will say you have Guru in Bhagyam, so you will get excellent results. you have Guru in Shashtam, so you will lose to your enemies. Like that, they will use only moon 90% of the time when you are judging the transit. And that is sufficient. Moon is pretty sufficient. And in classics, the good and bad houses from moon are given for various planets. For example, for Jupiter, the second house is good. The second house from moon is good. The fourth house is good. The fifth house, actually you don't have to note it down because it's available everywhere. If you find, I don't know which book of Dr. Raman contains it, but there must be some book that contains it. Because Ashtakavarga, actually if you buy Ashtakavarga by Dr. Raman, and if you look at moon's Ashtakavarga, that gives the list of planets which are auspicious in various houses from moon, and that's what we can use in transit. Basically, the transit analysis from moon is based on moon Ashtakavarga. So that is one thing you can do. And actually my book also, if you look at my book, the chapter on transit, there is a section on transit, and in the first chapter in that section, there is the list of good and bad houses from moon are given. Actually, the results of various houses from moon that are given in the Shastras are given in my book. So you can get it from any book. Also many books give it, so you don't have to really note it down. But from moon, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 9th and 11th houses are considered auspicious for Jupiter. And the other houses, 3rd, 6th, 8th, 10th and 12th, they are considered inauspicious. So like that, for various planets, if you take male fixed like Mars, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu, it's very easy to guess. Can you take a guess on what are the good houses for Mars, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu from moon? 3, 6? Yeah, 3, 6, 11. That's it. 3rd, 6th and 11th houses are good houses. Other houses are bad houses for those planets. Pardon me?
You said Jupiter.
Yeah.
House from moon.
Jupiter in the 10th house from moon is considered bad. The rationale behind that is, let me put it this way. What is moon? Mind. Mind has certain karma to do, right? The intelligence, if it meddles in the effects of mind and tells mind what to do, it's an unnecessary interference. Guidance, you can guide it, but you cannot tell it, do this, do this. I mean, telling it what to do is a different thing, but 10th house is not telling it what to do. 10th house is the house of its doing things. So, guidance would be 9th house, right? Guidance, the Guru Sthana is 9th house. So, if Jupiter is in the 9th house from moon, he is guiding the mind, he is telling the mind what to do. Jupiter's job is just to tell the mind what to do, not go and do it for the mind. Mind can do it by itself. It's better off doing by itself. Because sometimes there are some material concerns, there are some other concerns that are beyond intelligence, because people are not perfect beings. If a person is a deva, if he is a god, then he will do exactly what Jupiter tells. But if a person is a normal human being, sometimes you have to go against what the God within you tells you to do, because you are a human being and you are living in a society. So mind has to act in a way that Jupiter may or may not like sometimes. But it is Jupiter's job to guide. So Jupiter is, if he is placed in the 9th house from moon, he is guiding the mind, telling the mind what to do. If he is in the 10th house, he is doing it for the mind. The 10th house. So if Narayan comes and asks me, what should I, let's say a student, Narayan comes and asks me, what should I do? I tell him, this is bad. So suppose there is a student, not Narayan, somebody, let's say Chris, he is my student, he smokes. He asks me, is smoking good for me or should I stop it? I tell Chris, stop smoking. I'm doing my job. Because he asked me, I guided him. Stop smoking. But if I go and remove the cigarette from his mouth, pardon me? But it's not a good thing for me to do. Because it doesn't serve his purpose. Just because Jupiter is short-circuiting all these layers and directly doing it, it's not good for you because you don't appreciate why it's happening. The right order is, intelligence should tell the buddhi, the medha should tell the buddhi what to do. Buddhi should appreciate it, digest that information, because undigested information is poison. If any food that you eat is undigested, it is poison for you, it is toxic. And there are Ayurvedic medicines for flushing out such toxins. And similarly, any knowledge that comes, if you don't digest it, it is poisonous. So, buddhi has, for me, it will go mad also, yes. Certain kinds of knowledge. Yeah. So it will cause indigestion. If you get too much that you can't digest, it will be indigestion, and that's not good. You need to flush it out. So, so the thing is, there is a natural order. Jupiter has to tell Mercury, Mercury has to tell Moon, Mercury has to appreciate it, decide to do it, decide to tell Moon has to be willing to listen to it and then do it. Then it is good. But if the intelligence is directly going and doing it on behalf of Moon, like me removing a cigarette butt from Chris's mouth, that's not good. That's counterproductive. So for Jupiter being in the transiting in the 10th house is not good. It's not actually considered a good period for career. During that period, people have a tendency to, as far as the work that they are doing is concerned, they have a tendency to be too idealistic, and at their workplace they may start preaching everybody, no, it's not how you do it, you should do it like this, and there can be some friction because of it. So when you have Jupiter transiting in the 10th house from your natal moon, you have to watch out against that tendency and do your job without telling other people what to do. So anyway, so 9th house is good, 10th house is bad, but again 11th house is considered a good house for Jupiter to be from moon. And we will go through all these things in detail later, why each house is good or bad from each planet for each planet. From each planet for each planet, why each house is good or bad. We will go through that analysis a little later. We will go through the philosophy behind it and also, but what I will have to say is, the philosophy is not given in any classics. It's basically my understanding, the way I understood it. The classics only give this house is good, this house is bad, this house is good, this house is bad. Like that, Parasha only gives a list of good and bad houses for various planets with respect to various planets. So we will go through all those things a little later. But for now I think this is sufficient. But for now, we are now looking at the transits, right? So when you look at the transits, see, for example, let us say somebody is born with Moon in Aries. So if you look at the current transits, how are the current transits? Is Shani good or bad? Shani is in the 3rd house. This is a good transit. How about Jupiter? It's not good. Forget who he is with. He is Jupiter. He is not good there, according to Shastra. Now look at Ketu. He is in the 6th house. He is good. Ketu is good. Shani has a good transit. What about Mars? 10th house is not considered good. But here, 3, 6, 11 are traditionally considered good houses. 11, but here he is Lagna Lord, Chandra Lagna Lord. He is in the 10th house. He is exalted, so it's actually not a bad house. So you have to make qualitative judgment sometimes. But just using the principles we'll do for now. Just using the standard principles. For Mars transit is bad. And what about all these planets in the 12th house? 12th house is bad for all planets except Venus. If you look at Venus, the good houses for Venus are a little tricky. They are counterintuitive sometimes. But for all other planets, 12th house is a bad house to be in. So this person has anybody who was born with Mesha Rashi, Moon in Mesha, has all the planets transiting in the 12th house right now, 4 planets. And a few days back, 5 planets, including Moon. So, what can you say based on that? Basically, it's a bad transit, as far as those planets are concerned. But, because Shani and Ketu are well placed, out of the 4 slowly moving planets, Guru, Shani, Rahu and Ketu, 2 are well placed, Shani and Ketu. So, overall, the current period is good. From a long-term perspective, the current period is good. I am saying it because, see, what we do is, when you want to say how this year will be, how next year will be for somebody, you pay attention to Shani, Rahu, Ketu and Jupiter, because they are the ones who are slowly moving. They are stuck in some place. If Mars is bad now, maybe after 2 months he will be good. If Mercury is bad now, maybe after 3 months he will be good. In Mercury you don't have to wait even for 3 months. Every 20 days he is changing and suddenly he may become good for you. Same for Venus. Same for Sun. Every month he keeps moving houses. So all these planets, they keep changing fast. So you focus on the slowly moving planets if you want to give readings for one whole year. For example, if you are doing Panchanga Shravanam at a New Year function next year, let us say, you look at Shani, Rahu, Ketu and Jupiter and then you give readings for a planet. That will be sufficient. So one parameter that you look at is whether they are placed in good house or bad house. And secondly, if Shani is, let's say, well placed, what are the benefits he will give? According to Shastra, he will give Sampada, he will give wealth, he will give success, etc. But exact nature of that success will depend on what Saturn stands for in the chart. If you look at the chart, that Saturn may be the 7th lord. So because he is in the 3rd house, the person may get married during the year. Or he may be the 10th lord. So during that year, he may get a promotion. So how Saturn gives that good result, you have to correlate with the natal chart. So that changes from person to person. Just because Saturn is in the 3rd house, not everybody born in Mesh Rasi will have the same results. Overall, they will all have good time. But what kind of good time depends on your individual chart. You have to look at your own Lagna and look at what Saturn represents in your own chart. Okay? So like that you see all the planets. But for this person, for somebody born in Mesh Rasi, because so many planets are in the 12th house right now, even though the whole year is not bad at all, Shani and Ketu are good. Current period, during the current period, there can be some tension, some worry. 12th house is the house of peace of mind or lack of it. So here 12th house has Rahu. Rahu is in Gandanta. He is afflicting Sun very closely. The 5th house. 5th house from Moon. If you look at Moon as Lagna and forget everybody now for a second. From Moon, Sun owns 5th house and Moon owns 4th house. 4th house is the house of peace. 5th house is the house of emotional stability, emotions, judgment, etc. So those lords are being eclipsed by Rahu, and that Rahu is a very inauspicious Rahu. During these couple of months, Rahu is very inauspicious. Why? He is in Gandanta. The last Navamsa of Meena and the first Navamsa of Mesa are called Gandanta. Similarly, between Karkataka Simha and between Vrishtika and Dhanus. Those borders are the borders between fire and water. They are called Gandanta. And especially within the last Navamsa, the last degree itself is really extremely bad. And Rahu is in that Gandanta right now. So, this is a very inauspicious Rahu causing eclipse to Sun and Moon. The 4th and 5th lords for this Lagna. So, such people during these couple of months will have lot of lack of peace, lot of worry, lot of tension, lot of anxiety. And also 12th house is the house of confinement. So, they can be hospitalized, they can be imprisoned, they can lose lot of money, taxes, possibly. So, all these are possibilities. Not everybody with Mesh Rasi will have it. If the Dasha also is conducive, because such chances keep coming. It doesn't happen every time. So, using Dashas, you can predict more confidently. Using transits, certain transits repeat very frequently. So, you can't say confidently that something will happen. If you see something in the Dashas and the annual charts also, and if you see it in the transit, it's a triple confirmation. Annual chart, transit and Dasha. It's a triple confirmation, then you can predict.
You say, except Rahul and Devar, Mercury, Sun and Venus, all going to move away.
Yeah. So it will go away. It will go away. It's not a permanent thing. Okay? So I know several Mesh Rasi people. One person that I know was fine, nothing happened to him. Another person I know, he had a heart attack and he was hospitalized. So I know 3 or 4 other Mesh Rasi people. One person had a long journey. 12th house can also show moving. So he had a long journey. Another Mesh Rasi person I know, nothing happened to him. So like that, these are very approximate, very gross kind of results. The results that you can see from transit. But they can be very helpful. Helpful in seeing important events. If you see a good dasha, and if you think that a result is going to happen, if you look at transit also, you can get confirmation. You can get a better idea. And now, I will answer your question. The Murti. There are, yesterday, those of you who came to the Panchanga Shravanam, it is either Southern Lahi function or the CAGP function, they would have noticed that I was saying Jupiter is Swarnamurti, after he moves he will be Rajatamurti, like that. So, each planet, there are 4 different forms that are given in the in the tradition, and I'm not talking about Sri Jagannath Center tradition here, because to my knowledge, when I talk to Sanjay ji about it, he and his gurus, they don't really use these murtis, but these are very popular in South India, and where I come from, my father and other elder astrologers that I know use them very heavily, so I also use them. And these murtis are computed like this. When a planet moves into a sign, on the time the planet moves into a sign, see the position of moon. See where moon is placed, and see which house it is from your natal moon. So let us say Saturn is right now in Gemini. On May 25, he is going to move to Cancer. Let us do that. Let us say, go to mundane, say Saturn, I'm selecting 14, planetary transit mode, Saturn. When Saturn changes Rashi, you can select Rashi, Nakshatra, Navamsa, various divisions. If you want to see when Saturn moves to the next Dasamsa, you can use this feature of the software. And we'll say Rashi, and not before but after the current date. So after the current date, when will Saturn change Rashi? So I'll click on that button. He changes on May 25, 2005 at 8:34:30 p.m. Of course, you have to take this with a pinch of salt, because if there is a small error in the Ainamsha, this will change a little bit by a few hours or possibly even like half a day or so, depending on the Ainamsha errors. So, if you take this time, where was moon on this day? Moon is in Sagittarius. So during his entire stay in Cancer, Saturn will be a particular murti which is decided based on what house this Sagittarius is from your own natal moon. And let me give you the formula. The formula is Swarna, golden. This is 1611. Rajata, silver form. This is 259. Tamra, copper. This is 3710. Loha, iron. 4812. So these are the houses. So you can note this down, but the software does it for you. Yeah. I'll show it shortly. So let us do the exercise. Each of you tell me what is your natal moon and which murti Saturn will be for you in Cancer. Ted, can you start? Where is your natal moon?
It's in Scorpio.
Scorpio. So where is moon from Scorpio? Where is Sagittarius from Scorpio? Which house?
First house. The second house.
Second house.
Yeah.
So which form will be Saturn? Which form?
Silver.
Silver.
Yeah.
So Saturn is a silver form, a Rajatamurti for you when he is transiting in Cancer. And if a planet is Swarnamurti, he will give whatever results he is supposed to give very easily. He is auspicious basically. If he is destined to give bad results, he will give less bad results. If he is destined to give good results, he will give excellent good results. On the other hand, if a planet is Lohamurti, an iron form, the bad results he is destined to give, he will give them very easily, very happily. But good results that he has to give, if he is to give good results, he will give them with lot of difficulty, after a lot of hard work. He will not give them very easily. And for other two you can conclude. Basically, gold is the most auspicious, iron is less auspicious, the most inauspicious. So it is in that order. And if you see that a planet who is in a good transit for you is a Lohamurti, let us say, you have to work hard, but you will get your good results. You will get the benefits, but you have to work hard for that. And also you have to do some puja. If you do puja, if you do worship, if you do remedy, you will get the results. Okay? So now let us complete that exercise, everybody. What is your natal moon? Sagittarius. So first house. So which Murti is Saturn for you? He's a golden form, Swarnamurti. Good, all the best. But now the thing is, from Sagittarius, which house is Cancer? From Sagittarius, her natal moon is in Sagittarius. So during Saturn's Cancer transit, Saturn will be in the 8th house. It will be Ashtama Shani. Is it good or bad transit? It's a bad transit. When Saturn is in the 8th house, it's not a good transit. There can be ill health, etc. But he's a Swarnamurti. So it's not that bad. It's gentle trouble. He'll be gentle. He'll give some trouble, but he'll be gentle about it. But if you do worship, it may not even come. So that is how you have to combine both the information. So, Taurus. I'm sorry, but you have to do your math. Okay. 8th house. So Taurus, 8th house, so Lahamurti for her. But it is third house transit. It is a good transit, but he is Lahamurti. So he will give you good results only. He will not give you bad results, but after a lot of difficulty. Finally you will get it. After you work hard, you will get your gain. Pardon me? What?
From Sagittarius.
No, from Taurus, Saturn will be in the 3rd house, and Sagittarius is the 8th house. When Saturn moved into 3rd house, Moon was in the 8th house. So Saturn will be in the 3rd house as a Lahamurti. Okay? It's a little confusing because you are looking at natal Moon, transit Moon, and transit Saturn. So you are looking at 2 houses. So Sriram.
Tula, 3rd house moon.
Tula. So Saturn will be transiting in the 10th house as what Murti? Tamramurti, because this is the 3rd house and 3 is here, Tamra. So he'll be a copper form. So it's an average transit and not that beneficial. You? Bombay wala. Sagittarius. So again, he'll be in the 8th house as what Murti? It has been made easy for you. Why? Why? You don't look at the house of Saturn. You look at the house occupied by Moon when Saturn moved into that house. On the day, at the time when Saturn just moved into Cancer. See, at this time, Saturn's degrees are 0 degrees Cancer, 0 minutes, 0 seconds, 0.0 seconds. So when Saturn just entered Cancer, where was Moon? He was in Sagittarius on that day, at that time. So you see what house Sagittarius is from your natal moon. First house. So that means if you refer to the table, it is Swarna. So Saturn, even though he is transiting in the 8th house, which is a bad transit for you, after May 25, he will be a Swarnamurti. He will be a golden form. So it's not that bad. There will be some physical problems in health, etc. But it will be very controlled, very gentle. Like we were telling her, it will be gentle trouble.
How long is that transit period?
Usually Saturn takes 2.5 years. Yeah. Take sugar.
Scorpio, moon, natal moon in Scorpio.
Natal moon is in Scorpio. So transit moon was in the 2nd house. So which Murti? Rajata Murti, silver form.
And moon is in going in the 9th house.
Yeah. Saturn is going to transit in the 9th house, which is a bad transit, but not terrible. It is just bad for 8th house, 12th house, 1st house, 2nd house, 4th house, they are terrible. But 9th house is just bad, not terrible. So it's a bad transit, but he is Rajatamurti, so it's not that bad for you. Taurus. Same thing, we covered it. So he is transiting in the 3rd house, but as Lahamurti. So good gains after a lot of hard work, after a lot of effort. Palani? Yeah. Pisces. Okay, we have a different Lagna here. So Palani has Pisces Lagna, and Saturn will be transiting in the 5th house, and Moon was in the 10th house at the time of transit, at the time of sign change. So 10th house is Tamramurti. So he said that his Saturn is a Tamramurti in the 5th house. Tamra is more prone to give bad results, though not the worst, more prone than other two Murtis. And 5th house is again an average transit. And if you look at the transit, if you look at the Shastras, Panchama Shani will give Udara Badha, so any digestive problems, etc. Digestive system problems will be given by Shani during the transit. So you have to be careful with what you eat during this time. And if you have any digestive problems in the past, be more careful. So that's what it means. Now, you, he has Virgo, another different Rashi. So from Virgo, transit moon was in 4th house. So, Lohamurti. So, Shani is moving away from the 10th house. 10th Shani slows down career. He's not good for the work. But when he's in the 11th house, he gives lot of gain. So, Labha Shani, you are getting a very good transit, but unfortunately, he's a Loha, unfortunately. So, Saturn in Cancer will be so-so. But if you work hard, if you put lot of effort, and if you pray, he will give you lot of gain.
Even that is what seen even in the previous City Pravesh as well as in the...
Okay, if it is, then that is good. Then everything is together. If it is not, then you have to reconcile. That is the tricky thing. Okay, I'll leave Narayan because he's also, his Rashi is covered.
Praying with Saturn for Venkatesha, right?
You can pray to Venkatesha.
Aquarius.
Okay, you and I have the same Rashi. Okay. So, I don't know how to do it for me. Then I will use that also. Then I will use it for myself. So, Saturn is transferring into which house? Which house will it be in? From Aquarius? No, forget the Murti. Where is Saturn? Which house is he transferring in? From May 25. No, from May 25. From Kumbha, he is in Cancer. So, which house is Cancer from Kumbha? Aquarius? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, he is in the 6th house. So, Saturn is going to be in the 6th house. Is it a good or bad transit? For Saturn, Mars, Rahu and Ketu, 3, 6 and 11 are good transits. So, for Saturn in the 6th house is a good transit.
Into the 6th house or transiting?
Right now is not good. We are talking about 2.5 years from May 25. That's what we've been doing for everybody. So, on May 25, Saturn will move into Cancer, and during his entire stay there, which is 2.5 years, he will be a particular Murti, decided by where Moon was on the day he entered Cancer. So, where was Moon on the day he entered Cancer? In Sagittarius. So, which house is it from Aquarius? 11th house, 12, 11. So, 11th house is Swarna. He is Swarnamurti. So, we are the lucky Janmarasi as far as Saturn in Cancer is concerned. So, we have Saturn transiting in the 6th house as a Swarnamurti, as a golden form. So, he is going to give good results and also very easily. So, for you, Saturn transit, for you and me, Saturn transit during these 2.5 years. Which was your...
No, it was that. He was in Sagittarius.
Oh, but you also have Swarnamurti. But he is transiting in the 8th house. He is willing to be good to you, but he is placed in a house where he is told to be bad to you. So, he is told to be bad to you, but he is willing to be good to you. So, as a compromise, he will be a little bad to you. Or, if you worship, he will be good to you. But for him, for Srinivas, and me too. Yeah. For us, he is willing to be good and he is told to be really good.
Now, worshipping, will Hanuman help also for Shani?
Yes. If you have Ashtama Shani, if you worship Hanuman, it will help.
This you can do for every planet, for any division.
For me?
This we can do for any planet, for any division.
We usually, see, we haven't even looked at Rashi transit. Forget the divisional transit. We look at transits basically for the Rashi chart. We see which Rashi a planet is transiting right now. But what you asked is very, very good. Yeah. So you can look at the reference point. I've been taking the reference point as moon, right? The reference point can be taken in Rashi or various divisions. The transit position can be taken in Rashi or various divisions. But the most basic thing that 99% of Indian astrologers stick to is take the natal moon as reference and take the transit positions of planets in Rasi chart. Everything is in Rasi. And if you want good results, what I advise is, take the transits in Rasi chart, but the reference can be from various divisions. Now forget the Murti, just look at the transits. Let us take an example. Let us say Seshu's example, because he is the one who brought up divisions. For those who are listening on the radio or in the MP3, the data is September 16, 1961, 2:22 p.m. Secunderabad, India. 78 degrees 30 minutes east, 17 degrees 27 minutes north, and the time zone is 5 hours 30 minutes east of GMT, Indian Standard Time. So in this chart, let us see. Let us look at the current transit of Saturn. Right now, where Saturn is for the last few months. So Saturn is in. Where is Saturn? Somebody help me.
Gemini.
He is in Gemini, right? So from Moon, where is he? Which house is he in? From Moon, he is in the 8th house. So is it a good transit or bad transit? It is a bad transit. So during this time, as far as Saturn is concerned, he will make him work hard. Right now, Saturn is in Gemini, right? So I am seeing which house Gemini is from Scorpio, from your Lagna. Because we know it. Just make a chart.
No, we are not looking at the chart.
Current year.
Current time. For the last few months, Saturn has been in Gemini. And we are saying that on May 25, we will move into Cancer, and we were looking at how that transit will be for various people.
Okay.
The stay of Saturn in Cancer. And now let us come back to Gemini. Saturn is in Gemini right now, as you can see here. And in his chart, Moon is in Scorpio. So Saturn's transit is not a good transit for him. How about Jupiter? Jupiter transit is good. And Rahu, even though he moved recently, before that, Rahu transit was also good transit for him. He was in the 6th house first. Rahu was in Aries until a few days back. So Rahu and Jupiter were having good transits for him. Okay? Now, if you look at, let us say, Dashamsha. For me? Oh, make a new chart. Just make a new chart. Make a new chart and let's say transit. Go to transit, enter the date and time. Let us say we want to see on March 1. Say March 1, 2005, show transit calculations. Then it shows the transit positions of planets. And actually you can click on this icon you see here. You can see both the positions. This one. No, not Sarvabhadra Chakra. The one, two icons. Approximately Sarvabhadra Chakra, not exactly. So if you look at this, okay, this will be more useful because you can look at both the charts in one go. So look at the Rashi. This is the inner chart is natal chart, as it says here. Outer chart is the transit chart, and both are Rashi. And if you want, let us switch. Actually, let us stay with this. Now take this Moon as the reference. Rahu has a good transit. Jupiter has a good transit. Only Saturn is the problem. Right? So out of the 4 slow moving planets, 2 planets, Jupiter and Rahu, are auspicious. So overall it's a good period. But if you want to see from the point of view of marriage, let us say, how will be the marital life? Look at Navamsha. The inner chart, make it inner natal chart, make it Navamsha. Click on the inner chart and select this Navamsha. If you select here, it will change the outer chart. So that is how it is. So you can look at natal Navamsha, transit Rasi, natal Rasi, transit Navamsha, etc. But what I suggest is, as far as transits are concerned, stick to Rasi for now. Forget division. Just look at Rasi positions of planets. But natal difference, you can take Moon in the Navamsha Chakra. So if you look at Moon here, Rahu and Ketu were transiting on him. Even in the natal Rasi chart, Rahu and Ketu, natal Navamsha chart, Rahu and Ketu are on the axis of mind. And they are transiting in those signs right now, I mean, not right now, they changed. But until a few days back, Rahu and Ketu were transiting on that house. So for Rahu and Ketu being in 1st and 7th is not a good house, not a good transit. So this can show some problems in the marital life. It may or may not have happened to you. But theoretically that is a possibility. There is some Rahu Ketu Pida. So if such a person comes to you and asks you, I have some marital problems, what should I do? You should tell him, it's because of Rahu Ketu illusion that is acting on your mind. The problems are. So tell him to worship Durga or Ganesha, because Ketu is the one who's on moon, who's engulfing the moon. So tell him to worship Ganesha. So like that you can tell them. On the other hand, if you look at career, look at Dashamsha.
So you went with the local inner chart, right?
Yeah.
Outer chart we don't need to
Change. If you change outer chart, this also changes to Dashamsha. The transit positions of planets on the day selected will be in the Dashamsha. But don't do that. Stick to Rashi in the outer chart.
Actually taking a harmonic, so should we also take
No. No. Physically, Saturn is in Gemini now. So what is the physical impact of it as far as your mental mind, as far as career is concerned? See, your moon shows your mind. Moon in Rashi shows the physical mind. Moon in Dashamsha, what is Dashamsha? It's an abstract chart. It's an abstraction of your professional environment. Rashi is the concrete chart, the physical chart. But various divisions are the abstract environments in which you live. So Dashamsha is your professional environment. Navamsha is your marital environment. So if you look at moon in those charts, it is your mind as applied to those matters, those existences, those areas of existence. So Dashamsha Chandra, he will be.
I don't know what the mind as it applies to work in life.
Yeah, mind, the reactions. What is mind after all? It's just actions and reactions. How do you perceive the world? Mind is your door to the world. The filter to the world. So this is the the mental filter in the professional environment. So how that is being impacted by various planets? How that is being impacted? If you look at the Rashi transit of a planet, let us say Saturn is in Gemini right now. So physically there are various influences that are coming on you. Physically, one person may come and beat you. One person may come and say namaste to you. One person may come and give you money. One person may come and give you a memento. There are so many things that may be happening physically. So when we are looking at Rashi transit, we are looking at what physically you are seeing, what various people are doing to you physically. Various planets are various people. And the transit in the Rashi chart shows the physical experience at a given point of time. Rashi transit, the transit positions of various planets at any given point of time is what you are physically experiencing, not just mind or body or soul or anything. It could be anything, but what you are being exposed to physically at any given point of time. Now, one second, let me finish. Whatever you are being exposed to at a given point of time, it is being filtered by your mind, and it's being filtered differently by your overall mind. It's being filtered differently by your marital mind as far as marital environment is concerned, and it may be being filtered differently as far as your mind in the professional world is concerned. For example, a political leader may have gone through election and he may have won, and as far as his career is concerned, he is so excited. I won. I'm going to be the chief minister of so-and-so state in India for the next 4 years. I'm happy. I'm excited. He may be excited. But physically, he may be exhausted. After doing campaigning for 1 month before the election, he may be totally exhausted. So whatever he is experiencing around him, the experience that he is forced to have, he may have a negative impression about it when you look at it on physical terms. When you look at it from financial terms or professional terms, he may be very excited. So if you look at Dashamsha Chandra, moon in Dashamsha, the transits may be good. If you look at physical, the Rashi Chandra, the transits may be bad. You see what I am saying?
Yeah.
Okay, now you ask your
I
part.
think it's understand that the moon is situating in a physical plane.
Yeah.
So the detail and the concept is plain in the mind where we're talking about the work environment.
Yeah.
Okay. But however, I would say, if you take the physical plane
Yeah.
also break that down into the Samsa or Navamsa.
Yeah.
To show the transits in terms of your work plane or Navamsa plane.
Yeah.
This is the Gochara, the transit of the, in the plane of the Dasamsa or in the plane of Navamsa, applied to my plane of what my original
Yeah.
natal.
That will give a finer reading. I'm not ruling that out. That will be even finer. But what I am saying is that will be very, also the thing is that will change very rapidly. Even Jupiter, he will not stay in the same sign for a long time. He will not stay in the sign for 1 year. He will stay for 1 month. Every month he is changing the Samsa. And if you look at Mercury, he changes a sign once in, let's say, 20 days on average in the Rashi chart. In the Dasamsa chart, every couple of days he is in a new Dasamsa. So it becomes more tricky to analyze. Things are changing very fast. But at the physical level, the influences at the physical level, those are long lasting. So what I am saying is, using those you get
Longer lasting.
you will get coarse readings. And if you want fine grain prediction, you can look at the transits in the divisions themselves. And the tradition of taking transits in Navamsa, Dasamsa, etc. is very much there in India. Even though 99% of astrologers don't do it, there are clear traditions that some people in India do. For example, there is one whole system called Bhrigu transits. It is a system attributed to Bhrigu Maharshi, the father of Venus. And in that tradition, you basically look at transits in the Navamsa. See where various planets are placed in the Navamsa at a given point of time. And you correlate it with the natal Rashi chart, natal Navamsa chart, and give readings. But all those are very complicated subjects. And when you are starting to look at transits, the best thing is stick to Rashi transits. Not because others are meaningless, but because that itself has a meaning, which is the physical experience that you are having, how it translates in your career, to your mind, how it translates to your marriage, as far as your mind is concerned, in the view of your mind, how your mind processes various experiences, how it looks at it from the learning point of view, etc. So if you look at Dasamsa, again compare, just like the Navamsa chart, yeah, Ketu and Rahu are reflecting the mind, and Shani is an average transit, and Jupiter was in the 12th house. 1 year before, not the last year, but the year before that, Jupiter was in the 11th house. That was a good transit. Jupiter was a good planet. But when Jupiter moved away into Labha, Jaya, 12th house, it's not a good period. So right now, for the last few months or last year or so, it's not a great period for this person's career. That's what you can say, looking at this moon. But if you want to look at within that year, what are the ups and downs? If you want to look at that, you can look at various planets, how they are moving. For example, when did you change job? Or when did you get the offer? February? Okay, when did you get the offer? February? Oh, why am I changing this? Wait. February 3rd. Oops. February 3rd, 2005. Don't know the time, right? I'll just say 12 o'clock.
Morning about 8:30.
Okay, so let's say 8:30. So on February 3, 2005 at 8:30 a.m. he got an offer, and the time zone was naturally here, time zone here. Okay, so say show transit calculations at that time. And if you look at the Rashi transit, by the way, I didn't show it to you, so let me show this to you. When you say show transit calculations, here you will get various things. First, you will get the Tara. This is the nakshatra. There are certain nakshatras that are considered good, some nakshatras that are considered bad. You can see which nakshatra is occupied by a planet. We haven't covered it, so I will skip it. And you will get the murti, the loha, tamra. So which planet was which murti you will get, and you will also get the house. Is it in the 3rd house, 1st house, 2nd house? And these houses are found from, you can select it here. You can say natal reference to use. You can say Rashi or Dasamsa also you can select. You can select Rashi and then you can select Moon, Lagna or Arul Lagna. Let's select Moon. And then it will show the house from that natal reference. that the planet is transiting right now, and is it a good transit or bad transit? I selected Rashi here, and it will show the Murtis. And another thing is, there is this thing known as transit calendar. What you can do is, you can give a date, for example, current date, April 10, 2005, and you can give the time, and you can say, from this date and time onwards, starting from the above date and time, calculate transits once in every 1 day, or you can say 10 days. If you want to see how it will be for the next, let us say, let's say just 15 days, next 15 days. You just click on this, say show transit calendar. It will show this thing. This is a pictorial representation, and what it shows is, you can go through the legend of this. Various symbols are explained here, but I will just look at the factors that we have been seeing so far. This, you see this idol with a yellow color. This means Swarnamurti, as a golden form, and this white is silver, and this is Loha, iron, and this is, as you can guess, this reddish thing is copper. So it shows the 4 Murtis, and it shows the house. See, this thing in the rectangle is a house, 5th house, 4th house, 6th house, 5th house, like that. So sun is right now in the 5th house, and he is going to move into the 6th house. And the red background shows bad and green shows good. So 5th house is a bad house, and 6th house is a good house. And this moon, you see a small moon symbol at in the corner, the left bottom corner. It shows that this house is from moon, and there is another one without moon. This is the house from Lagna. So right now, sun is transiting, or let's say Jupiter. Jupiter is transiting in the 11th house from moon, which is good, and 10th house from Lagna, which is bad. So these are the transits for Jupiter right now, and he is transiting in the 6th star, which is a good star, and he is a Tamramurti, which is not so good, and forget the next two. So it gives a synopsis of the quick summary of all the planetary transits right now in a pictorial form, so that looking at it, if you see a lot of green, say good. If you see a lot of red, you see bad. Or he is suggesting, he is making a suggestion, change the color. I don't know how many of you know, but if you say in the software, Alt P, DC, preferences relating to display, colors to be used, you can change all the colors. So you can select various items in the software, and you can just pick the color, and then if you save it, the whole look will change. So you can change green and red if you don't like. If you are, pardon me? Oh, you never used it? Go to transit. Bottom tab has basic transit results, transit calendar, special sets. You just give some date where you want to start, date and time, and from then onwards you give an interval. Every 1 day or every half day, every 10 days. And then you select which items you want to be seen in the chart. So I selected everything. And you can also say natal chart and transit chart, you can define them. But I'm using just Rashi.
Can you go back again? What is the little more in the corner?
Yeah. This means the square basically shows which house the planet is transiting in. And the little moon in the corner shows that this house is actually from moon. Because the software gives both house from moon and house from Lagna. To distinguish between them, it uses that moon, crescent moon symbol to show the house from moon. So, if you look at Jupiter right now, why did it change? Oh, it didn't change. I just scrolled. No, I just scrolled. And you see that Jupiter is in the 11th house right now. And he will be there for a while until September 27th. From moon. And it is a good house because it is green. And this is red. This is the house from Lagna. It is 10th house from Lagna. And is that right? Your Lagna is Dhanus. So Virgo would be the 10th house. So Jupiter is transiting in the 10th house. It is a bad transit, not a great transit. It doesn't show the transit from Aruh Lagna. It only shows from Lagna and moon. And then this is the star. He is in the 6th star. And for those of you who know, 6th star is Sasantara. So it shows achievement. So this is a good transit of Jupiter, but he is a Tamramurti. So like this you can just get a synopsis. And you see this small red dot on this 11. This 11 is green. Jupiter is in the 11th house from moon, which is auspicious. But you see a red red dot, small speckle on the top left, top right corner, and that shows that there is a Vedha. There is something known as Vedha. When planets have a good transit, some other planet in a certain house can cause Vedha. Vedha means obstruction. So those are again given in Dr. Raman's book on Ashtakavarga. When he defines transit, he gives Vedha. He gives the list of houses where various planets will cause Vedha. For example, when Jupiter is in the 11th house, I think some planets transferring in the 5th house will cause Vedha. And I think it is being caused by Rahu and all those planets.
What is the from fifth is causing it?
That is the definition. When Jupiter is in the 11th house, 5th house causes Vedha. When Jupiter is in the 5th house, another house, there is another house. For each house, there is a list of houses that causes Vedha. And if you have my book, you can actually get that from my book also. So, if you go to my book, if you look at the chapter on transits, there you will see the definition of Vedha. I believe I gave it, or maybe I did not. Is there? Okay. So, Parani certifies that it is there. So, if you go to the chapter on transits, is it not working? Are you sure it is there? I don't think it is there. Yeah, actually it doesn't look like I gave it. So, you can look at Ashtakavarga book by Dr. Raman, that definitely has it. The Vedha houses. I'm surprised, because it's a very basic, simple thing, important thing. I thought I would have given it. Yeah, I did not give it, so forget it. So, you can get it from Dr. Raman's book called Ashtakavarga. It's a thin book. It gives Ashtakavarga and also it gives some basics on transit. So that book definitely has it, that I'm 100% sure. So, here Jupiter is in the 11th house, but he has Vedha. He has Vedha from other planets. So, it's not so good. But if you look at, for example, some other date, let us say January, and let us say 40 days. Probably there will not be Vedha then, I'm guessing. Because
What did he do? What did he do?
sorry. Oops, I'm giving you the wrong chart. Let's say 50 days from January 5. See, here he has no Vedha. You can see that in January, Jupiter did not have a Vedha. He was in the 11th house without the red dot. See? So, at the beginning of January, he did not have the Vedha. When did he get the Vedha? From January 14. So, which planet caused it? I'm not sure. So, probably it is the third house, not. It is probably the third house. I don't remember the exact houses that cause Vedha to each planet. For each good house, there is one Vedha house. So, go through Dr. Raman's book and find it out. But you can also look at the software. So, like this, you can just look at the software and get a good sense of how the transits are.
Can you know which planet is causing it?
For me? I'm not sure. Of course, I can look at it if I open the software. I try to open my book and find it, but it's not in my book. I can open the software and the definition should be there. But just look at the book. Look at Dr. Raman's book. Okay. So it must be being caused by Mars now. So when Mars moves away from Capricorn, Jupiter will again be without Vedha. We wanted to check the transits on. What was the date? We lost the date. February. February 3, 2005. We still have it. So let us see the transits at the time.
And we wanted to look at detail.
Yes. So if you look at the moon, the natal Dashamsha moon, he is in He's in Libra, right? And where is Mars? See, which are the important planets for your career? That is one thing first you have to see. What are the important planets? Who can give you good gains in career? Basically good planets in the Dashamsha, right? Who are the good planets in Dashamsha? Look at this Dashamsha. If you are confused by this, I'll just go to one chart, if it is easier. Oh, this is transit chart. Okay, you have to live with it. I don't want to go back to natal chart. So look at this white, the inside chart, the white chart, that is the natal chart. Lagna is Leo. So Simha Lagna, who is the ninth lord? Who is the 10th lord? Venus. So Venus is a very important planet. As far as his career is concerned, Venus is an important planet. Who else? That 10th lord Venus is with 2nd lord Mercury, and those two planets are in the 5th house. Venus and Mercury, both of them, are together in the 5th house of recognition. So those two planets are important planets. Sun is an important planet, being the Lagna Lord. And who else? Well, not really. Yeah, being the 5th lord, but he is also the 8th lord. So maybe Jupiter. That way every planet is important, but who can give a yoga? Look at Yoga Karaka. Yoga Karaka is Mars. So even if Venus and Mercury are bad, they are the planets who are placed in the house of recognition, and even if they are bad, Mars is Yoga Karaka, the 4th and 9th lord. So being the Yoga Karaka, he can give you a good break. So I will consider Mars, Venus and Mercury important planets in this chart. So see their chances. When they have a good transit from the moon, not from Rashi moon, but from the Dashamsha moon, when they have a good transit, then there can be a fortunate break in career. There can be a good development in career. And look at Mars. Where is he on that day? From where? You will see from this moon. See, you look from natal Dashamsha moon. So this is the natal Dashamsha chart. It has moon in Libra. If you go to your Rashi chart, your Rashi is actually Vrishchik Rashi. But as far as career is concerned, your Rashi is Tula. So take Tula as Lagna. From that see the transits. And Mars in transit is in Sagittarius on the day. 3rd house. Is it a good house or bad house for Mars? It's a very good house. Pardon me? From the moon, from Tula. Not the, see, you are looking at this Mars, right? Exalted Mars. He is at the time of your birth, not on this day. So Mars has a very favorable transit. Who else has a favorable transit? So even though slow moving planets are not really well placed for you during the year, during that particular time, during that particular month, Mars was transiting in the 3rd house. And what about Mercury and Venus? Are they well placed?
Yeah,
4th house is a good house for both of them. Just take it from me for now. For Mercury and Venus, also for Jupiter. 4th house is a good house. Basically, they will give comfort. 4th house is the house of Sukha, peace, comfort, happiness, solace. So when these two benefic planets are who have a yoga in your chart, in the house of recognition, they can, whatever good result they give you, how do they give it? Through giving you recognition. Because that is what they stand for in the natal chart. They are in the 5th house. They are the 2nd lord. They are the 11th lord. They are the 3rd lord. They are the 10th lord. And they are in the 5th house. So using those houses, they can give whatever result they give. And they will give good or bad results relating to those houses based on the transit. So in transit, okay. In the natal chart, now I am looking from Lagna. Because when you want to see the nature of various planets in your natal Dashamsha, take the natal Lagna. So take this ascendant, natal ascendant. The natal Dashamsha has Leo Lagna. So from there, Venus and Mercury are in the 5th house. So whatever results they give, they can give through giving some recognition. 5th house is the house of recognition and ability. So they are capable of giving you recognition and ability. new abilities and recognition for your abilities. So when they have a good transit, and when they are supposed to give peace of mind, or they are supposed to give success, they are supposed to give fortune, they are supposed to give happiness, they give it through giving recognition, because that is what they are capable of based on the natal chart. Based on the natal chart, you see what different planets are capable of giving, what good and bad different planets are capable of giving. And looking at the transit, when they are well disposed, they will give those good results. When they are badly disposed, they will give those bad results. Whatever bad results they are capable of giving, they will give when they are badly disposed in the transit chart. Whatever good results they are capable of giving in the natal chart, they will give when they are well disposed in the transit chart. So in the transit, Mercury and Venus were in the 4th house of comfort, sukha, happiness. So they will give you happiness and relax. They will make you relaxed in your work. As far as your career is concerned, you will be more relaxed than in the past. During this transit, something will happen that will make you relaxed, provided dasas are conducive. And yeah, I know that it is true. So this is not a case of confirmation. This is a case of justifying something that we already know. So Mercury and Venus in the 4th house and Mars in the 3rd house. 3 slow-moving planets having excellent transits. So if somebody comes to you with this thought and asks you when is a good time for me, until now we were looking only at the Pravesh chart. But now you can look at these transits also and correlate. So that will be more powerful. So just for completion, let us look at
That's not a basic question. It's a very fundamental question.
Yeah.
When you see something placed in a certain house, which is plant placed in a certain house,
Yeah.
they are supposed to work for the purpose of that house. But their main agenda is the agenda to take care of the houses that they own.
Yeah.
So when they fulfill both the roles, the dual role,
Yeah.
they actually function in the house that they are in.
Yeah.
But by fulfilling the areas they own, or once you're
See, the house they occupy shows what kind of resources they have at their command.
the houses they occupy.
Let's say the 5th lord is in 8th house. 8th house, what does 8th house stand for? Sudden things, anxiety. So he is told to operate in that realm. He is told to give his results, give some results relating to 8th house, like some troubles or some anxiety, some sudden changes, etc. But his agenda is 5th house, following, recognition, etc. That is what he has at the back of his mind. So when he is told to give some changes, he will give some changes. Suddenly somebody will recognize your abilities and give you an offer. So the houses owned by the planet show what is their agenda. The houses that a planet occupies will show what it has access to, the medium through which they can fulfill their agenda.
In this case, we have
So, one second. So, combination of those two, when you are looking at transit, those things are transfused now. The houses owned and houses occupied, those now become the agenda. Those now become what the planet wants to give. If a planet 5th lord is in 8th house, he wants to give sudden recognition, let us say. Sudden rise, for example, sudden raise or sudden promotion or something. He will give a sudden result, but good result because he is 5th lord. So he will give a promotion, new offer, recognition, etc. So he will give it suddenly. So that is what the planet wants to give. Now when he will give, that is from the transit. So he will give when he is well disposed in the transit. And that good transit may be in the 4th house, it may be in the 5th house, it may be in the 11th house, it may be in any house. But whatever house it is in, it will give the results it is supposed to give in the natal chart. But in addition, based on whether it's 4th house or 11th house, there are some extra results given in classic. 11th house they will give success, 4th house they will give happiness, and so on. So correspondingly, you can modify. There will be, because the planet is 5th lord in the 8th house, he will give a sudden promotion. And because he is in the 4th house, he will give a lot of happiness because of that promotion. Or because he is in the 11th house, he will give a lot of gains, lot of maybe more money or something because of that sudden promotion. So based on the transit, you modify the result given in the natal chart. But that is the basis where you start. It's a combination. It's not like, if you ask me whether dasas are making the transits work or whether transits are making the dasas work, I will say this is like whether the plant comes from the seed or the seed comes from the plant. There is no real answer. It's basically both of them working together. It's not like one is causing the other to work. Both of them work. When there is a confluence between the two influences, then the result will be experienced.
But typically you can't see the transit unless the doctor.
I would say so. If you ask me which one you give priority to, I will give priority to dasha rather than transit, because transits keep happening so many times. They have a larger periodicity than dashas. So if you are looking for, let's say, Mercury and Venus having good transits, they are good in the second house, they are good in the fourth house, they are good in some other houses. So there are various houses. Maybe half the time they are good, half the time they are bad. So you can't make predictions just based on the transits.
Likelihood, often not likely.
Yeah. It basically narrows down the field. Dashas will give you when the result is likely to happen, and the annual charts will narrow it further, and transits will confirm it even further, and sometimes even narrow it even further. Okay?
In this case, for example, what we saw, Venus and Mercury sitting in the fourth house.
Yeah.
They're supposed to, from a mental perspective,
Yeah.
they're supposed to give him comfort.
Yes.
That's like on
Right. So, as far as his mind is concerned, it will get comfort. But why is it getting comfort? Because of Mercury and Venus. But because of what?
What are they accomplishing?
What are they giving? Because of who he is getting that comfort. That to see that, you go to the natal chart. What do Mercury and Venus stand for in the
This house of the
Yeah, they are in the fifth house. They show recognition. They show promotion or just a new job. He is the 10th lord, so he will give a good karma. Like that, you see. He is the second lord, so he will be given new resources, good resources. So like that, you go to the natal chart and see what those planets are capable of giving. What good those planets are capable of giving.
But if I look at the both that are transit now,
Yeah.
it's also from Lagna in the sixth house.
Yeah.
So that means they also give me everything, they overcome difficulty.
Actually, for both the planets, sixth house is a good transit.
It's a good transit.
Yeah. For both Mercury and Venus, yeah. Not for Jupiter, though. Only for Mercury and Venus. Yeah. So we will see various good and bad houses later, but for now focus on Moon. Forget the Lagna.
There is a difference between maybe houses for the material something in this house could be causing us trouble could be when we consider that it is the interpretation is different from when we consider this the natal chart of
Yeah.
the individual chart
Right.
and when we come to
Right. So when you see a planet in the fourth house, let us say it is Mars, it will give discomfort. Let's say Saturn is in fourth house, it will give discomfort and unhappiness, troubles. And if Venus or Jupiter or Mercury are in the fourth house, they will give Sukha. But now, what is the Sukha relating to? It's relating to something that Jupiter stands for, or Mercury stands for. Or what is the discomfort relating to? It is related to something that Mars stands for. Let us say Mars is in fourth house, transiting in fourth house. Now, what is it? To see that, go to the natal chart. Then the natal dashamsha here, because we are focusing on career. So, just focusing on the overall existence, physical existence, go to Rasi. Because we are looking at career here, we looked at dashamsha and looked at what Venus and Mercury stands for, and what Mars stands for. Mars is also the other good planet here. And another interesting thing is, even in your Rasi chart, if I believe, Mercury and Mars are in the 10th house of karma. So the physical work that you do is shown by Mercury and Mars. So again, those two planets have a good transit from the Dashamsha moon at that time. In your natal Rasi chart, the 10th house has Mercury and Mars. So see, if you want to see what are good planets for you, look at the 10th house in Rasi chart, look at the 10th lord of Rasi chart, and look at important planets in the Dashamsha chart. That is how you find the good planets for your career. And then see when they have a good transit from your moon in Dashamsha. And when they have a good transit from moon in Dashamsha, you will feel good about your career. When they have a good transit from Arudha Lagna in Dashamsha, your image will receive a boost. But again, the rules are totally different. The houses where planets are auspicious and inauspicious are not the same from Arudha, same for Arudha and for moon. They are totally different. So I'm just telling you that you can look at all those things. But for now, focus on moon. And get the auspicious and inauspicious houses list from moon for various planets from my textbook or Dr. Rama's book or any other book that you like, because those are standard things. Or you just find it from the software. Okay, I'm just curious. Let us see where is his D24 moon. Yeah, the inner chart, let us say, is where is moon? I don't see him. Okay, he's in Aries. Pardon me? The outer is Navamsa, yeah. I'm seeing how the transits are from D24 moon. I was just curious.
In the natal chart, what is the fourth and fifth?
I'm not looking at a particular month, I'm just looking at the whole year. So I'm just looking at Jupiter, Saturn. So how are they? How are Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu and Ketu? Pardon me? Because they are slow moving planets. If I take other planets, it changes every 20 days or 15 days.
It's pretty good. This Ketu is in 12th house.
What 12 house?
No, I think you have to look at transit.
Okay, I'm looking at Rasi versus. Okay, let me go to transit. Look at current day. Now go to this. Okay, now inner natal chart is Rasi, outer transit chart is also Rasi, but inner natal chart I want to change it to D24. Okay, now we are all set. So his D24 has moon in Aries in the natal chart. So you have to take Aries as Lagna when you judge the transits. Okay. Saturn is in third house. Saturn is transiting in the third house. So even though this particular Saturn is transiting in the 8th house from moon physically, because your moon was in Scorpio, the natal Rasi moon is in Scorpio. So even though it is Ashtama Shanichara, as far as learning is concerned, how is Shani transit? He is in the third house. So Shani will give, as far as learning is concerned, Shani will give good results. But again, it depends on what kind of knowledge Shani stands for here in this chart. So you can look at the houses. Yes, Shani is the, what, 10th and 11th. Look from Lagna. If you look from Lagna, he is the 11th and 12th lord.
11th is for astrology learning.
11th is an important house for astrology learning. Excellent. He is the 4th from 8th. He is the learning of occult knowledge. So 11th, being the 11th lord, Shani can show learning occult knowledge. And 12th house. What does 12th house show in B24? What kind of knowledge? What kind of learning?
Giving.
Yeah. 12th house is the house of sharing, giving, etc. So Saturn is in the house of giving, house of sharing with others. Knowledge you don't give away. It's not an object that you give to somebody and then it's gone. When you share, it increases, like light. When you cover light, you are not really saving light. When you give the light to others, you still have the light. It's not like it's going away. That's the thing about knowledge. If you are talking about money, when you give it, you lose it. So in the case of D24, 12th house does not mean losing. It's not loss. It is sharing. So,
Second is bad.
Pardon? Why? Yeah. In 2 more minutes. The kid is asking when can I go. So, Saturn is an important planet as far as astrology learning and sharing with other people is concerned, and he is well placed. So that aspect is taken care of. That aspect is good. And if you look at Rahu Ketu, they were transiting on the Lagna until now. Rahu was transiting in first house. Right? You see Rahu here, but if you see a few days back, he was in Aries. Right? So Rahu was transiting over your Janma Rashi, as far as Siddhanta is concerned. So there is some blockage of Rahu. Rahu shows the wheel of ignorance. He's the wheel of asatya. He's basically the wheel from reaching the truth. And because Rahu is transiting over moon, basically you will feel confused. Rahu causes confusion. So there is... Yeah, he's traveling backwards. He was in Aries and now he's in Pisces. He's going to stay here for a while. So, this particular transit was not very auspicious. Rahu transit. He's saying we have to study all the lessons again. Because we studied them when Rahu was on your Janma Rashi. Yeah. So basically that shows some confusion. If the same Rahu is afflicting moon, the Janma Rashi, reckoned as per Dashamsa, it may be some confusion relating to mind at workplace, not relating to learning, but relating to profession. Some confusion, some inner turmoil, etc. So in learning, Shani is very conducive.
You're saying the transit from Aries to Pisces is what is causing it?
No. Transit in Aries was bad.
Oh, okay.
While he was Aries, he was bad for learning.
Because he is over the...
Because there is a confusion in learning. But he moved away, so that confusion has been removed. And later, this Jupiter is going to move to Libra. Yeah. So that Jupiter will be transiting in the 7th house from Moon. That is a good transit. When Jupiter transits in the 7th house, it's a good transit. He is aspecting the Janma Rashi. And also if you see your natal Jupiter is also there. So we are doing all the transit analysis from only Moon to see mind. But you can also look at Jupiter and do the analysis from him. That shows intellect. So Jupiter in G24 shows intellect as applied to learning. The wisdom in the area of learning things, accumulating knowledge. Wisdom in that area. And from Jupiter, if you see various transits, Jupiter himself was transiting in the 12th from it until now. But he will come into first house soon. So after this, Rahu's moving away from Aries is definitely good for you, for your learning. But when Jupiter also comes into Tula, during that 1 year you will learn much better. There will be that your wisdom, which is being blocked, will really blossom. And you will be able to learn things without any confusion. So until September 27, you will be asking a lot of questions, same questions again. But after September 27, you will start learning much better.
In regular nature, that we have seen that way.
We?
2007 or 2005.
Okay, here based on this, after September 27, around 1 year is a good period for removing all the blockages and wisdom basically blossoming and applying to the area of knowledge very well. Okay, with that, I will end on that good note. I will end the class. By the way, from this point of view, around the transit time during September, if you pray to Dakshinamurti, for Jupiter in Venus sign, Dakshinamurti is the god. If you pray to him, it will be auspicious. Okay, I will end for today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Yeah.
Not related to the astrology, but when you read the Meda Suktam, what are you...
Which Suktam?
Meda.
Yeah.
What are you strengthening here?
For me? Medha? I would guess Medha.